Hey guys, welcome to the Rug Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Aryan Devachi. Excited to be here today. Got a really special guest in the house with a really unique story, so can't wait to bring it for you guys. So here's a little bit of background on him. Born and raised in Northern California, when he was 14, he became a producer for the local public access station and was bit by the camera bug. After working for a few ad agencies in Sacramento area before landing a great job as a graphic designer for the California Farm Bureau. In 2014, while still working, he wanted to try his hand at directing a short film and entered it into a local film festival. To his surprise, he ended up winning Best Film, and that fueled his passion for filmmaking. In 2016, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck rebooted their contestant-based show named Project Greenlight on HBO, and anyone was allowed to submit a 3-minute short film to be judged online, and the winner will get to direct a feature film in Hollywood with the help of Matt and Ben. Though he didn't win the competition, he came very close, and being on news stations and having articles written about him propelled his career. With all the PR, he decided to quit his stable job of over 10 years and start a media production company named Salvo Image LLC, where he used filmmaking to tell the stories of his clients and showcase the hard work that goes into making a successful product and service. Guys, it's my pleasure to welcome our guest today, Matt Salvo. Matt, welcome to the Rug Talk Podcast.
Hey, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, when we initially met, I was immediately gravitated to your story that you shared, and I was like, we got to get you out here and share the story to the world and have it exposed. So, welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It was, I think, really cool how we met and in Monterey at Car Week, and I'm just, happy to be here.
Absolutely. So we'll jump into it. I mean, I want to just dive into this, to the story that you shared, and tell me about the experience. So I'll sort of give a little snippet of it. You'd basically purchased a luxury car, and back and forth, it didn't sort of work out how you envisioned. So please, let's dive into the story.
Yeah, well, it seems like nothing in life works out how we envision it, or at least me. But yeah, it was kind of interesting because during the pandemic in 2020, it was a really difficult time to be a business owner. I had just moved into my studio January 2020, and then the lockdown happened. We had a movie coming out with a full theatrical IMAX release. That was all shut down. My whole life was upside down. Then I was in a massive accident where I broke half of my body, where from basically my wrist all the way down to my femur, everything was just broken. And I really, I didn't know how I was going to handle that. It was a very traumatic experience. And I was thinking, when I get back from surgeries and once I can get back home, I'm going to pull through this. I'm going to make this lemon into lemonade. And and somehow focusing on buying a Ferrari kind of got me through it. And so I thought, like, okay, I'm not only going to heal my broken body, but I'm going to make my company grow during this time. I'm going to figure out how to manage from a hospital bed. And then about 8-9 months later or so, in January 2021, I finally did it. I was able to save money somehow. I was able to buy my dream car from this dealership in Upland, California, named CNC Motors.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So that experience of buying a Ferrari, it's a lot of people's dreams, and you were able to make that into reality for yourself. Now let's dive into what happened after you found the dream car that you wanted. What occurred after that?
Yeah, well, I flew down with a one-way ticket to LA. I met with my salesperson after wiring them a bunch of money. They gave me the keys to the car. I was so excited. I have been fiending out after this car since I was 19 years old. I saw this one at a racetrack with my dad. It had a lot of special sentimental value. They sent me on my way, but I found it kind of funny that they weren't able to fill up the gas tank. They said that all their pumps were shut down. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm excited. I'm buying a Ferrari. Right. And I start driving it home, And in about 2 hours on my way home to Sacramento, it started acting really weird.
Man.
Yeah, and I didn't, this is my first Ferrari ever. I had a really cool Porsche Cayman beforehand, but this was a different beast. And so I thought, okay, maybe this is a safety feature.
Right.
Maybe it's going into neutral to protect something. No. So anyway, I make it home slowly. And then I call my salesperson the next day after I see a bunch of oil all over my garage floor.
Oh my God.
Just bought the car, bunch of oil on the floor. This is not good. I call up the guys. Oh yeah, Matt, we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna take care of you. They had me go to a local shop, have it diagnosed. Turned out that the heat exchanger broke. This thing, what it does basically, it separates the oil from the coolant, so it doesn't all go into the same thing into the engine. This is kind of a nightmare scenario.
Right.
Like, it's a big repair. And so I was like, oh man, who's gonna cover this bill?
Right.
Like, I just bought this thing as is, no warranty.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm sure it'll work out. And well, then, so CNC Motors took the car back. They had it shipped back to them. I don't hear anything from them for months. And, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually never got the title to the car either. I don't have the title, I don't have the car, and I don't have the money. So this is a very bad situation. Well, anyway, I'm at home one night and I'm watching YouTube and I see somebody start talking about, oh, how CNC Motors was a scam. Don't buy from them. They're selling cars that they don't have titles to. No, that can't be me.
That's not happening to me, right?
No, like I bought my car well after that. That's poor guy.
Right.
You know, I feel bad for him, but it's not me. It's not me. Well, then a month goes by. I'm still not getting a call from the dealership. I don't know if the car has been fixed, totaled, anything. I'm calling them. Sorry, this number has been disconnected.
Wow.
I'm emailing them. It's getting bounced back to me. And then finally, I didn't know what to do. And around April 2021, I have a media production company. I'm used to making videos. And I just I didn't know what to do. I posted this video that's saying, "Where's my Ferrari?" hoping that somebody of some influence sees it and can help direct me. I get a phone call within a day of that video, and they're like, "Matt, if you don't get your car, you're going to be out everything. The police are going to go to CNC Motors and seize it all." Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this is Easter Sunday. And I'm like, with my daughter doing an egg hunt in the backyard. And then I'm like, honey, I think I need to drive down to LA and pick up my car. It's a long story. She stayed with her mom. And then I drove down there. And keep in mind, I had just been in a massive accident.
Right.
I'm still like in nowhere near shape or form to be dealing with any kind of altercation. So I hired a bodyguard.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, to just help facilitate things, you know, so they can go smoothly. Because I heard some really shady stuff from this guy on the phone. So we camp outside CNC Motors. They have 2 semi-trucks blocking the entrances so no one could get in or out. We went over the landscaping to get there.
Okay.
And then we're just hoping that the owner shows up because I'm looking through the windows. This is a massive $16 million building. When I went there in January, full of supercars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, everything. And then when I'm there now in April, there's nothing there. And the windows are boarded up.
Wow.
I think there's some frustrated customers or something. And so I don't know what to do. Finally, the owner comes rolling up in this Escalade. He gets out and all of a sudden, he goes, "Well, can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to pick up my Ferrari."
Right.
Okay, and he had seen the YouTube video.
Right.
And all right, let me bring it out. And I go, "Well, I want to see it first. And I don't want him just going in there calling the police or something."
Right.
And so we escorted ourselves into the garage, and there it was, all put back together, ready to be sold again. And how CNC Motors works, like a lot of exotic car dealerships, is they're consignment vehicles. So if somebody wants to sell their Ferrari, they give it to them, they take a small percentage, and then when whoever buys it, like myself, they're supposed to give the DMV the taxes, the registration, and then the owner of the car the money. And then that owner of the car is supposed to give the DMV the title. That's how it's supposed to work. To make a very long story short, what had happened apparently was, and I'm just one of over 200 victims.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so I'm actually the small fish in this. My car was under 100,000. Most of the cars they were selling were closer to the $1 million range. They were pocketing all the money from the buyers and keeping it, not giving it to the DMV, committing massive state fraud.
Right.
And then they're also not giving the money to the owners of the cars, and they're not telling them that it's sold.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I thought what was crazy about it even more is, how do the owners of the cars not know?
Right.
Like, and I guess when you have a bunch of these things, this is just another task on your to-do list, is like, oh, sell the car, someone will call me when it needs to, they don't think about it.
Right.
So months go by, months and months. Anyway, once I pick up the car, I have it shipped back to Sacramento because I don't know the state of the repairs. And then I have a local shop look at it, and then that's when the real gravity of the situation hits me. I take it to them, and they're like, Matt, after doing a full inspection, this thing not only needs this part and that part, which $5,000, $10,000. Okay, sure, that's a lot of money, but it's not a new engine type of money.
Right.
And that's what it needed. It needed a new engine.
Oh, man.
It needed a new gearbox. The thing that you put it from first to second to third. I've had lots of cars before, and I've replaced clutches and transmissions and a couple thousand here and there. $18,000 for that one, plus $30,000 for an engine, plus all the other things that, there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, because of this YouTube channel, I ended up getting connected with a lot of really talented Ferrari people, mechanics, owners who have been through situations like this. I was getting advice from a lot of different people on what to do, how to handle it. But the repairs aspect of the car, it's like I almost had to ignore it, because once the DMV investigations came in about the dealership, they're like, you don't own this car.
Right.
Neither does the owner of the car. We own it. And I was like, that's a thing? Like, you can just do that? I go, no, it's in my garage.
Right.
You can't have it.
I have the car.
It's my piece of crap car. And so I'm like, oh man, this is horrible. And yeah, I can't register it because they never got the money for the taxes.
Sure.
They never knew I was a buyer. They never got the paperwork.
Right.
So
it's not legitimized yet. So
it's not legitimized. And the poor guy who gave it to CNC Motors to sell, he never even knew this was going on. And so one day he did see my video, and that was a very hard conversation that we had.
Of course.
He wanted his car back or the money.
Right.
And I was like, well, I want the money back or the car. This is a weird situation.
Right.
And like I said before, I'm just one of 200 people. The CNC Motors place, they would take the titles of the people who had the car, and they would tell them, oh, it's going to make the transaction go a lot faster if we had the titles.
Right. Which normally doesn't happen.
Never give your title to someone unless you get the money.
Right.
Rule 101. So they were taking out loans, multiple loans on each title. So if you have, say, a $1 million, Ford GT, and you have the title of this thing, you can sell that Ford GT and pocket $1 million, take $1 million out on the title, go to another bank, take another $1 million out. Now you have $3 million.
Right.
I mean, that's a good deal if you're a scammer.
Of course. Matt, what's really, really crazy to me is two things. One, that this day and age, that we live in a society where information is just readily accessible to us. A dealership could just operate this way, and especially in the luxury market, you're not dealing with just random people. You're dealing with people that are, well connected and are able to, protect themselves.
Yes.
And that is just, it blew my mind when you shared that story to me that they're operating this way. So
Yeah.
as you were going through this, and also another thing that really impressed me about this story, I think the fact that you have an entrepreneurial spirit is what really got you through this process. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because most people would eventually say, no, I just don't even want to deal with this. So as you were going through this, what are three things that sort of kept you mentally going to get yourself to the finish line?
Right. And so, the thing is, you don't know where the finish line is or when this experience is going to end. And you're sort of just pioneering through it, hoping somebody has some kind of information. But this was a one-off case. Nothing like this has ever happened.
This is a very unique situation.
Well, so what happened, there's three things that basically kept me through going through it and pushing further was I felt, one, my back was against the wall. I had no other option other than to see this through. I used to invest in stocks, and I was always told that you never lose money unless you take it out while the stock is down,
For sure.
right? So if this car is worth nothing because it's so broken, okay, well, why would I sell it? I couldn't even sell it if I wanted to.
Right.
Because it doesn't belong to me. I couldn't
You don't
sign over
you
title.
don't have the title to the car.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, step one, get the title of the car. That's my mission. Just focus on that. And so, like you said, having an entrepreneurial spirit, it kind of forces you to segment things and to do it in a systematic way. So I would just be on the phone with the DMV every other day, figuring it out. We got this another corporation involved called the Consumer Vehicle Motor Fraud Fund. And anytime anyone buys a new car in California, $1 goes to this fund in case something like this happens.
Right.
That's great. This is out here for consumers. Most people don't know that it exists. But if you ever get screwed over by a dealership, you have some recourse, up to $30,000.
Right. Not in the luxury market.
That's tax sometimes
Of
for
course.
these cars. And yeah, so they were still involved, and they made up a couple new rules in the organization for this situation. And basically what was happening in my situation is once this person has been convicted, the dealership has been shut down, everyone knows whose fault it is and all that. Okay, they are going to award the owner of the car $30,000 and me $50,000 or $25,000. I'm supposed to then give my 25 to him, and then he is now made whole enough to get me the title.
Right.
And so after 554 days of fighting, I drove to LA where he was. I believe he's a cosmetic surgeon. He was made whole through that fund. He gave me the title, and then I'm like, all right, okay, now I have this.
Right.
I can now focus on what am I going to do? Repair it, sell it at a loss. At least now I have an option.
Of course.
So I thought like, okay, and another thing, the second thing that gave me motivation to follow through with this was my daughter. I wanted to kind of show her like, hey, fight for something if you know you're right. Like, and this is a really big deal. I was supposed to be buying my dream car. It is now my nightmare car, but it's how you handle it, right? Like, you got to handle things professionally. You can't just go off the rails if something's not going your way. That's a hard thing. And so I tried to kind of explain to her as this process was going on. She's like, oh, Dad, just sell that thing. Okay, well, you have to have this conversation. This is how things are bought and sold. This is how vehicles are bought and sold. And I learned to make it an educational thing, not just for her, but I decided to keep the YouTube channel and educate people of these exotic cars, what could happen. And, I felt bad because I was like kind of the laughing stock of the Ferrari community. I'm the one that went through this like bad situation, but we're all human, and I don't think we can foresee all the bad stuff that can happen in the future. So like, just make it, a positive experience somehow. And so I use that to kind of fuel my passion to like, let's see where this is going to go. Then the Ferrari Club of America CEO called me after seeing the story. They wanted to do a feature on me, and this was in the midst of everything. And I'm like, I hate Ferraris. I don't want to talk about it. I was becoming so withdrawn. I was so like angry about this. But I'm like, no, and I quoted them. I said, basically at the end of this whole interview, I said, I'm going to turn this car into the best looking Ferrari 360 Modena this place has ever seen. And I just told myself that, not believing it.
Right.
But if I say it, I'm going to hold myself accountable. And so that's what I did.
I think that's beautiful. One, for your daughter to see you go through this, and for her to learn that you can basically just work for something that you want to get to. That is going to be probably the best experience she's going to get out of this whole situation. And two, you got the car operating and working, and now you're able to enjoy the vehicle, which is the best part. So how has it been now having the car, in great condition? Obviously, it wasn't easy to get it to there, but you got it there, and now you're driving around. How's that experience been?
So I didn't know that I was going to be able to get this repaired, because the final quote that I got from someone was $50,000 to get it repaired. I just bought a Ferrari. I didn't really anticipate on buying another one. And that was a really big struggle. And I took out a loan. I took out a fat loan. And but before I did that, because of the YouTube channel, I was talking about, now that I have the title, what am I going to do with this thing? Should I convert it to an EV? I didn't know what I wanted to do. This company in Northern California called Fur Parts, they reached out to me and they said, Matt, we feel for your story. We have a wrecked version of your car that just has a little minor front end damage, but we can take the engine and the gearbox and all the expensive bits that you need and sell that to you.
Amazing.
Yeah, and for a good deal, like a good deal.
Right.
And so I'm like, let's do it. I don't know how I'm going to afford this, but let's do it.
Right.
And because in my opinion, it's better to have a working Ferrari than a non-working one. For many reasons, like if you want to sell it, if you want to take a loan out against it to invest into something else, there's all kinds of reasons, not just to drive around and have fun. So I turned this car into like a business adventure. And I just stopped looking at it like a fun, fancy thing. And I'm like, this is going to make me money somehow. And I'm going to get it all back. And so anyway, we found a shop locally that can do all the work. It was a massive rebuild, but we were able to get all the parts to him. And it took 6 months to repair.
Oh, wow.
6 months, the cost of the labor was equal to the engine and stuff that I had to buy. So it was a very big loan that I had to take out. And thankfully, things worked out, because after that, I started getting some really great clients. And I was able to pay it off within a year. And now I have this working thing. And I'm like, okay, I think I want to start driving it. I think, just little by little, like give it, 10 miles.
Steps.
Yeah, because this thing was leaving me throughout the whole repair process. All right, Matt, it's all done. I pick it up. I'm so excited. Oh, I got the car.
Right.
Breaks down. Oh, another 5,000.
And you mentioned it happened 3 times.
3 times. Congratulations, Matt, it's done. Breaks down. And so finally, I took it to a different shop after the 3rd breakdown, and we figured out that it needed a couple more sensors. When you replace a bunch of things, from one car to another, you have to kind of retrofit it a little. And it was a really difficult time. But then, since then, I have learned to have confidence in the car, and I've been able to push it and have a little fun.
Right.
And it's been epic.
You should. It's a Ferrari. You got to punch it.
It's a freaking Ferrari. Right. Yeah, you got to have some fun. And so I'm finally getting over all the trauma aspect of this. I'm going to car events. I'm going to all these cool experiences where we had met.
Right.
And I'm finally just living the life. I'm learning to put the stress behind me and just let's have some fun.
I'm a big believer that things happen for a reason, and this happened to the perfect person. The fact that you persevered through all this and you got it to where you got it, and to have an amazing story to share about it, I think it's phenomenal. And this will definitely motivate people that go through things in life, and just will understand. Look, if you work towards it, if you just grind to it, and you want to get to there, you can accomplish it.
It's so true. And I think a lot of us have goals in life that seem lofty and a little out there. And my mentality has always been reach for the stars, and then whatever you get that's slightly underneath it, well, it's still great.
Right.
And so I always thought, like, I used to be a runner, but I just wanted to run a 5K, but I said, no, I want to run a marathon.
Sure.
Because if I trained to run a marathon, then I could do a 5K no problem. And same with the car thing. It's like, okay, just push through this one thing and then, hope for the best. All you have to do is just, if you have your goal here and life hands you a bunch of lemons and is pushing you off your goal and your tangent is like really far away,
Right.
just remember where your goal is. Okay, now it's going to take a little longer than expected. It's not going to be the perfect experience. You're going to get teased by all your friends, and
Sure.
you're going to have a bunch of hateful YouTube commenters. But, use your success as revenge. Don't, play into their talk and, oh, yeah, you're right. I should have done this. I shouldn't. It's like, no, stick to it, and you're going to make it. And
For
then
sure.
when they see it, like, that's all you need to do. You
Right.
don't need to comment back.
And it feels great once you get there, for sure.
Sure does, man.
That's amazing. So, throughout this whole process, what's something that you learned about yourself that you didn't know?
I really think what I've learned was I had a lot more in me to fight than I thought that I did. And I think that we all do, like, from the accident and being like broken to this Ferrari thing to business ventures. It's like you never know how much you can do until you're pressed to do it. And maybe you're one of those people who wait to the last minute to take a test, and so you cram all night beforehand. It's kind of like that. It's like you find your second, third, fifth wind.
Right.
Well, just keep in mind, like, yes, this isn't how I wanted it to be. Stop focusing on that and start focusing on where I want to be, and be patient.
That's a key, is being patient. But look, it's important to keep fighting. That's what I always say. Keep fighting and keep doing what you're doing. What I also found fascinating is the line of business that you're in. That sort of helped you get the word out of what occurred. So let's talk a little bit about your career and what you do, and how that sort of shaped getting this news out and the story out.
Sure. Yeah, well, I own a media production company where we film, basically, we showcase hard work, and we go out to a lot of farms, ranches, manufacturing facilities, and I'm always showing people the hard work it takes to produce this thing that we all buy or something.
Right.
So I thought, well, when I'm going through this, like, I document everything in my life. I never wanted to be a YouTuber. And but I knew that I needed to get in front of the camera this time, or else no one's going to tell the story like I tell it.
Of course.
It's personal to me. I need people to see this. This is real. And so I thought, okay, well, I have this big studio. Like, let's put it to use, make the YouTube video. And then that's, I mean, instant traction, like 80,000 views in a day for my first one. And I thought, okay, well, once I get the Ferrari fixed, I'm not going to ever do YouTube again. Like, I'm done.
Right.
But now it's kind of, the people who follow me are really salt of the earth, genuine people who lift me up through the comments, who, Matt, just keep it going. You're going to get it working one day.
Right.
And that fueled me to, like, well, let's keep this going a little longer, and let's show people why I fought so hard for this car. And so I was thinking, I haven't posted a YouTube video in about 9 months, but I want to show people the intricacies on why this car costs what it does, why it's such an anomaly when it comes to brands, like why are Ferraris so cool or whatever.
Right.
And then it's like, in my goal of getting this car to be the best that it can possibly be, I want all of it to be the best. I want everything from the interior, from the floor mats to be, I want it to all be the best. And then when we met, I just happened to know that, oh, you make rugs. How interesting. You design these beautiful custom things for people. Like, and then that's kind of.
Yeah, and we're working on something really special, and once we put it all together, we'll release that, and I'm excited to put this together. I think it's going to be really amazing, and it's going to look really cool. And once it's all done, we'll expose that part of it.
Exactly, and I want to put it on my YouTube channel as well. And I think people need to see the craftsmanship in what you do, and it's just so cool. And the way that we can put our businesses together and make something, and then develop a friendship out of it. It's great.
Absolutely, I love it. I love it. So I do want to ask you, having gone through this, what advice do you have for somebody that's looking to buy a luxury car? Because I think you're the perfect person to ask this question.
Yeah, well, there's a thing called a pre-purchase inspection, or a PPI, and usually people who are buying cars in the $100,000 to $1 million range, you're paying a mechanic to go out on your behalf to look at the car, inspect it, and then they'll report back with a very detailed summary on what needs work, what's good on it, all that stuff. A PPI isn't always the end all, though. There are some things in the car they're not going to look at, like the internals of the engine.
Sure.
They're looking like at the oil, the brake pads, the tire wear, little things mechanically that could be wrong. And so, but I always think you should get a PPI, step one. Step two, if you don't get one and you're buying from a reputable dealership, there was no telling that this dealership was that fraudulent. They were reputable for over 20 years of selling these cars. They got into some shady stuff for one reason or the other, and that's what happened. But just do your research. Research the car that you're going to buy in terms of what are the known flaws in this car. For example, mine sometimes catches on fire. Okay.
Pretty big problem.
It's a big problem. So then how do you buy the ones that don't catch on fire? Okay, well, the ones that have had this thing and that thing replaced should be good to go. So research whatever make and model car you're going to get, and then I know you don't want to see it or read about it, on the things that are bad, but nothing in life is all good. So you got to take some of the bad with the good, and if you could handle some of that bad, like I know a lot of the McLarens,
Right.
They have electrical issues like none other. So you're buying a $400,000 car that you're going to have to replace a $7,000 battery every year. Okay, can you afford $7,000 a year?
Right.
Just like budget. Make sure that you can even afford, because some of these, the perception is because you spend a lot of money means that nothing's going to go wrong. It's the most reliable, whatever.
Right. Complete opposite.
Complete opposite. It's like you are buying a race car for the road.
Right.
Race cars come with a pit crew, come with unlimited parts.
Right.
No.
Unlimited funds too.
Unlimited funds. I'm not sponsored by anyone, and so you just have to understand what you're getting yourself into. Maybe you're buying the most reliable Ferrari, which would be a brand new one. They come with a great year, a 7-year warranty, bumper to bumper.
Right.
Awesome. Well, surely that couldn't cost you anything more. Try going to a Ferrari event.
Right.
I mean, some of those could be thousands of dollars. And it's yeah, you're basically now invited to spend more money.
Which they do throw amazing events, though. Their events are pretty spectacular.
They are worth it. In Monterey, we were hosted by I think it was Casa Ferrari, or no, it was the petrol house where we test drove a couple of the cars. And I mean, it was beyond elegant. It was, just everything that they do is about customer service and customizing things to you. That's an experience like none other. And so I find it just so cool now that I get to experience this. I thought once I got it fixed, maybe I'm just going to sell it and cut my losses.
Right.
No, I like,
You're a Ferrari guy for
this
life
is it.
now.
Yeah, I'm going to be sporting the gear and the hat.
Ferrari definitely needs to sponsor you now. That's what they got to do.
Ferrari, you have to sponsor.
Got to sponsor Matt for sure. I love it. I love it. So Matt, we're gonna actually, before we get into the rapid round of questions, a thought and an idea came to me. You got to eventually put on an event and invite all the people that commented on YouTube and do a celebration around the car, because I think this would be a cool way to sort of bring everybody back together and celebrate this this win, because this was a huge win for you at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, yeah, you're right. I was thinking about hosting like a Cars and Coffee or something like that, and then offering like free photo shoots to all the cars. I don't think I would invite some of the commenters though.
No, the good commenters.
Yeah, the good ones.
And I think Ferrari should sponsor the event. I'm just saying. So maybe Ferrari sponsors the event as well too.
Well, I am trying to really. So part of what I want to do with this car is, sadly, because the way it was sold to me, a lot of stuff was like stolen out of the. It comes with these beautiful leather-lined like owner's manuals and toolkits and all this stuff. A bunch of pieces were stolen, and so my goal is to make the car and everything with it completely whole again. And I think where I basically want to take this is, if I can get this thing certified through Ferrari, saying like, okay, Matt, this is what you got to do to get this, and it's like factory again. That's what I want to do. They have a program called the Classic A Ferrari Certification Program, where in Maranello, Italy, they will pull the original blueprint from that car, your exact VIN number, and then go through every single option that was ordered with it, and then let you know, like, okay, this is what it takes. And I'm like, this might be the way to go with it. And
well, if anybody can do it, I'm sure you're going to do it. You're going to make that happen. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Well, awesome. So we're going to get into sort of the fun part of the show. It's a rapid round. I'm going to ask you a few questions and just fire away what comes to mind. Okay. So, favorite place you visited and why?
I think probably Rome, Italy, tops up there. I just think the people are so nice and welcoming compared to the other countries I've been to, where, man, it's just, I felt like home there. And I love the architecture, the food. Yeah, Italy.
I have to agree with you. Rome, Italy, I'll never forget. My wife and I had probably the best lasagna in this little restaurant that the grandma was cooking in the back of the kitchen. It was incredible. So yeah, Rome is up there for sure.
And that's the truth, right? Like, these people are taking their profession generational.
Right.
So like her grandma probably was cooking in the same
back there,
kitchen.
right? It was just so I'll never forget it. So anytime I think of Rome, I think of this grandma back there cooking the lasagna. So that's awesome. If you had to choose, vodka or tequila?
I'll go tequila, but we'll go with the Dos Hombres.
Dos Hombres. I love it. I love it. We have a little story about the Dos Hombres tequila and the experience we shared.
Yes.
We were in Monterey for Car Week, and we were at the RR1, the House of Rob, and we had the pleasure of hanging out with Aaron Paul and his great chef Diego. And we did, of course, caviar bumps, and they brought the Dos Hombres tequila. That's right, the mezcal.
The mezcal, yeah, and the caviar was awesome. That whole night, I mean, just meeting Aaron Paul, and wow, that was crazy.
It was a lot of fun. So yeah, good that you brought that up. Favorite sneakers?
You Back to the Future fan?
Okay, yeah, of course.
Okay, well, there's these ones in Back to the Future 2 called the Nike Air Mags.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know those Air Mags?
I know those Air Maxes, yeah.
Oh, man. So I actually won a pair from the Michael J. Fox Foundation.
Really?
They made 1,500 pairs back in 2008. And I got these things for like $1,800. It was the most I've ever spent on sneakers. And I flipped them, unfortunately. I sold them for $5,000, thinking, oh, man, best investment ever.
Right.
Do you know how much they're?
If I was to guess, I would probably say 25 grand, 30 grand.
75,000.
75,000. Wow, I'd have been off too.
I wish I would have kept those.
I know the sneaker game has gone to the next level of what shoes cost.
Yeah.
75,000.
Most expensive Nike ever.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. All right, favorite sport to watch or play?
I'm not a huge sports guy, but I'll go with F1.
F1,
we'll go with the car theme.
Okay, and
yeah.
you'll be going to F1 as
Going
well?
to F1 this November, yeah.
Sweet. Favorite music?
I'm going to say I like something with a beat. I'm really into like Michael Jackson, Lady Gaga. Yeah, something cool like that.
So that's what you'll play when you're in the Ferrari.
You know, a little Billie Jean.
Okay. Favorite car besides the Ferrari?
Well, I'm a huge Tesla guy, but I get a lot of hate on that because it's not a real car or whatever. So if I didn't have the Ferrari, I'd probably get a Lamborghini.
Lamborghini, not a bad choice.
No, it's
Favorite color and why?
red.
Red.
It's color of passion.
And the color of the car.
Oh yeah.
All right. Favorite memory you've had with the car? Good memory.
Yeah, I got a lot of. Boy, I went out in Northern California. There's this area around Lake Berryessa, kind of like halfway between Davis and Napa. And you go around the lake, and there's all these windy, twisty roads. And a buddy of mine and I went out one Sunday and just were ripping around. And I finally got to push the car to, I think, its full limit. And it was just epic. Like the sounds against the canyons is bouncing off. Like, I can't believe this is my life right now. Like, it was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, Matt, it was a pleasure having you on today. Please let our viewers know how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, sure. If you're looking at my website, it's salvoimage.com. And if you want to follow the car adventure on Instagram, it's red_Modena. And I'm on YouTube at Ferrari Matt Life.
Sweet. And we'll make sure to plug all that with all the links so everybody can take a look at it. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being on the Rug Talk podcast. It was great having you on to share your story and taking time out of your busy day. And I look forward to connecting with you in the future. And hopefully you'll have this event as well, too.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining in on another episode of the Rug Talk podcast. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Looking forward to bringing you guys more content and interviews. Till next time, cheers.